Recently, YouTuber Nicholas DeOrio got into it with Destiny on Twitter after Nicholas posted about Destiny's allegations, informing his audience that he did not believe that Destiny should have a career anymore after what Destiny had done.
Imagine if these guys were anything other than spineless, pathetic cowards. Just share the links with each other so you guys can swap. There is a lawsuit, guys. He can't watch the video where the majority isn't about anything in the lawsuit. DGG replies blindly, defending their freak daddy. Our sickening LMAO. Also, this goes without saying, I don't really care if you like my Hassan/Ethan coverage. If you think Destiny should still have a career as a respected political creator after what he did to Pixie, I invite you to unsubscribe, unfollow, so I don't have to go through the trouble of purging you myself. You're not welcome in my community.
Destiny didn't take kindly to the series of tweets and responded shortly after they were posted, expressing his frustration over people assuming he was guilty when only one side of the story had been told.
I just want to say how absolutely hilarious it is that you fat soys were screeching and screaming about how horrible and evil cancel culture is, and the hashtag #MeTooShit was innocent until proven guilty. But you're super content to take a side on this because of where the popular support is when only one side has spoken. I'll respond with more substance when I can, but I'm being attacked by people who have literally nothing to lose and everything to gain by saying whatever insane shit they can publicly while trying to squeeze me, legally, privately, which puts me in the most annoying spot imaginable when dealing with dipshits like you. If you really want to show your nuts, why not attack places like Kiwi Farms where the content is literally still being hosted and blasted to the world? Oh, because that's a scarier party to go after. Talk about cowards.
Nick responded shortly after by showing his support for Pixie and calling Destiny out for his actions. Kiwi Farms wouldn't have Pixie's files if you didn't share them without her consent, you pathetic freak. You shared Pixie's videos with a random 19-year-old and then posted logs where you admitting to severely damaging her. Why are you responding to me at all? You literally did this, bro.
Nick then posted private DMs between Pixie and Destiny where Pixie and Destiny were discussing the incident of what he had done to her.
Hi, Steven. As my life on this earth comes to a close, I want to ask you to be please more careful with the people who place their trust in you in the future. Life is unfair, but you should do your best in preventing that, not contributing to it.
Hold up there. What's up?
I'm just tired of living anymore. It's a matter of time until my family discovers what happened, and I feel like there is no way to obtain justice. I don't want to bring a case against you, but I think you'll continue to send private pictures of people even without their consent. Bringing a case against you would mean going public, which is the equivalent of a death sentence for me either way. So I feel like the best thing to do is for me to live and schedule a post just detailing my feelings on what happened to try to ensure a situation like this doesn't happen again. I'm not going to live myself at this second. I'm trying to get some things in order before I end everything. But I don't see a future where I survive for much longer. It's better to end things sooner than later and stop the pain than to let it continue.
I feel like it's hard for me to give you advice since I'm obviously implicated in everything, but I would still say some of the following things. 1. Things die out surprisingly fast. There might always be a couple of random losers online, but people move on to the next thing, and outside of some losers on Kiwi Farms and some irrelevant content people who will fade away in a year or two, inevitably stuff fades away. There are people who were big online a few years ago that people can barely even find traces of anymore. Stefan Millennius is a good example. 2. You still have every legal option available to you. You can always pursue stuff, and there are special civil and criminal protections that even shield your name from being released. You can always do free consultations with litigation firms to check with stuff like that. For obvious reasons, you should take things I'm saying with a grain of salt and pursue and check out all of those things on your own. 3. You have accomplished and done a ton of things in the past couple of years. When I met you a few years ago, you were yo-yoing like crazy between ultra-unalive ideation thoughts and being hung up on a weird guy and feeling aimless after getting your college degrees, but you've done a ton of work this year with PV, moved to and survived in Miami all on your own, branched out into new content areas and made new friends across new communities. It would be super shitty to not follow through for a couple more years at least and see where you could continue to push things. This feels super lame, and I don't at all want to imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes everything for you, but if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with, I can at the very least chip in and help with any of that, so it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this.
It's more complicated than that. I feel like there's no justice for what's been done. I feel like people for the rest of my life are going to try to send it to my family or workplace or whatever I go. I feel extra 3 Emily violated with how so many people saw me non-consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use this as proof that I slept my way into whatever achievement I garner. I feel like it's evidence that everything would be better with me gone. I feel like whatever I ask you to cover will be too high a price to, and then I'm going to feel even worse over it.
I think the number of people who know or even keep up with it enough to go after you on this is probably almost zero. I think people hate overs involved, me, Lauren, Nick, LOL. Way more, and it overshadows everything a lot more. As far as any achievements or anything like that, the majority of the work and stuff you've done has been completely independent from me anyway, so the only people who would say anything like that are people who would have said shit like that anyway and aren't worth the time.
Followed by private DMs between Destiny and another individual discussing the same incident. Straighterade, we're all egocentric, so even if that's true, I wonder if it's getting through to her. Destiny, yeah, maybe not, I don't know what else to do. Straighterade, money. Offer to cover her therapy or some shit. I don't know her employment situation, but I don't think it's good. Destiny, you really think so? Oh well, I have zero problem with that. I thought about it, but it feels super ultra scummy, or like I'm just trying to buy off her feeling bad or something. But obviously 1,000,000,000% I would absolutely do this. Straighterade, yes, I really think so. LOL, she mentioned pursuing a case against you in that first screenshot you sent me. And this isn't a crime that is punishable with jail as far as I know. So unless she thought it did or some other punitive measure she felt would deter you, I'm gonna assume she was considering doing it for financial damages. Destiny, what do you think would be the appropriate way of even approaching her about that? Straighterade, which is probably extremely difficult to prove in her case. She's not a high-profile micro-celebrity, and you didn't leak it maliciously. You didn't even leak it at all, you distributed it non-consensually. Destiny, yeah, I know, I looked into it for obvious reasons just to be sure, but I don't really care much about the legal side of it or whatever. Obviously I have severely, at the very least psychologically, damaged her, covering therapy or whatever is a minimum, and I have no problem helping out or sending her money for anything as a form of reparation. I just didn't want it to come off as like, hey bitch LOL, I know I violated your trust in the worst way ever, but here's some money, have fun. Straighterade, being honest and front-loading it with genuinely not being able to rectify if neutrally because of the obvious conflict of interest, but you'd like to try and that it's something you do if it would help her. Therapy costs for sure. If you're really feeling generous, something to do with her law school pursuits, like year 1 or something. I don't know how far you're willing to help, but I see it as offering her something to look forward to in her immediate future. That is a goal she was working towards in the midst of all of this, and would be a reminder that her life isn't over because of this, not even close. Destiny, what law school was she looking to go to? Is money the only thing stopping her from going or something? Straighterade, I'm not sure, but she owes me $147 and is having to pay it back to me in installments because she can't afford the payment all at once. So I'm pretty sure there are hefty financial constraints for her right now. I know she was studying for the LSAT, but if she has a school in mind, she didn't mention it to me. I assume it's something online or in-state. Destiny, $147? Straighterade, yeah, because when I moved we split the podcast equipment, and it was divided in such a way that she took more equipment than I did, so she's paying me the difference. Destiny, gotcha. Straighterade, I even kept the couch we bought even though the movers broke it, so I have to toss it, but I didn't want to ask her for $250 on top of that $147. Since her job situation is weird right now. Destiny, quote, this feels super lame and I don't at all want to imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes everything for you. But if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with, I can at the very least chip in and help with any of that, so it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this. End quote. Do you think this is okay? Straighterade, yes. I think it would only be skeevy to do this if you were like, can I give you this money so you don't take legal action against me, please, thank you. When another individual pointed out that the reason Destiny appears guilty is because he admitted to sharing Pixie's material, Destiny claimed that he didn't admit that at all.
I think the problem is all the DMS, where you admitted to sharing pictures without consent. Seems kinda guilty.
I didn't admit shit, but keep up the great framing.
To which Nick responded with Destiny's own DMs to counter that point.
Yeah, I know, I looked into it for obvious reasons just to be sure, but I don't really care much about the legal side of it or whatever. Obviously I have severely, at the very least psychologically, damaged her. Covering therapy or whatever is a minimum, and I have no problem helping out or sending her money for anything as a form of repatriation. I just didn't want it come off as like, hey bitch L, I know I violated your trust in the worst way ever, but here's some money, have fun.
Destiny has stated prior that he can't say much because of the legalities of the situation, but it looks like more than enough has already been said in the court of public opinion.